All right, folks, lots of kiddos are out today, so we are going to have a review day. We're going to talk about everything you should be able to do at this point. One of the major things you got to be able to do is put equations in standard form. That is one of the favorite tricks on the end of course exam. The answer choices will not be in slope-intercept form a lot of times. Okay, so first let's just practice putting slope-intercept into standard form. Remember, standard form cannot have fractions. I have a lot of kids that understand that the x and y have to be on the same side. That is one part of it. So like on number 1, that positive x needs to get subtracted and moved to the other side to be with the y. So my first step would be negative x plus y equals negative 5. There are no fractions in this one, so we don't have to worry about that. But I also asked you to force the x to be positive. I want you to recognize both possibilities. What's another version of this that's also correct? X minus y equals positive 5. So give me this answer. All your answers today are going to be in standard form, and I want you to force the x to be positive. So you can work it like normal and work it and get an answer that looks like these answers here, but then you must convert your answers to standard form. Now here's the deal with number 2. This is what I have some kids do. They understand that the x term has to be with the y, so they move that over by adding 2/3 x. You can do that first. That's fine. And then they leave it like that. What's wrong with that? Yeah, thank you, Trey. Taking pictures with your calculator. Okay, this one has a fraction. You cannot have fractions in standard form, but we can easily get rid of it because it's an equation, as long as we do the same thing to all numbers on both sides. What can I do? Multiply everything by 3. Why 3? Because that's what my only denominator is. You want that 3 on the bottom to cancel out. And sure enough, it will, because 3 times 2 is 6. There's a 1 here. 1 times 3 is 3. And if you don't like multiplying fractions, if that confuses you, then use your calculator. 3 times 2/3, the 3's are going to cancel, and you'll just be left with 2x plus what? 3y equals negative 12. So your final answers on all of your problems you're doing today should look like that. Now look at number 3. What do we have to do on number 3? Yes, we got to multiply everything by, in this case, 6. Why 6? Because the common denominator, good, for 3 and 2 would be 6. So we have to get rid of fractions. Standard form cannot have fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by 6. Do that if you haven't already. If you don't like to multiply whole numbers and fractions, then by all means use your calculator. Why would it be negative 6? Well, I'm going to worry about moving the x's in a minute. I like to get rid of the fraction first. You don't have to do it first, but I usually get rid of the fractions first. That's the thing kids forget to do, to put it in standard form. Kenny, have you done this one already? Yes, you're going to be in the video tray taking selfies with your calculator. Maybe we'll watch your YouTube channel from when you were 10, and I'll put that on the video too. Okay, so what is this when we multiply by 6? 6y equals 2x minus 3. Now the only thing I have left to do is make sure my x's and y's are on the same side, and I want you to force x to be positive. When I move this 2x to the other side, what does it do? It becomes negative 2x plus 6y equals negative 3. No problem. Change all the signs, and you have 2x minus 6y equals positive 3. That's the answer I would want to see. Now, some of your questions are going to be super easy. I will give you, I'm not just asking you to convert. I'm giving you a math problem. I'm giving you a point and a slope, somehow, some way. Or 2 points, somehow, some way. Are y'all with me? And your job is to find the equation, and then you got to put the equation in standard form. Let's start with an easy one. I am thinking of a line that has a slope of 0 and goes through the point 6, negative 5. This one really does not require work. Y equals negative 5. This is a flat line, a horizontal line. Are you with me, Julio? All horizontal lines have the same y value, they all have the same slope too, which is 0. But on a horizontal line, all you need to know is one y value because they're all the same. So the y equals -5 on this whole line. Now, is that in standard form? Yeah, that's in slope-intercept form and standard form. So on those, you really don't have to convert your answer. We're done. What if I was thinking of a line that had an undefined slope and went through the point -2, +8? That would be x equals -2. Good. Do I have to worry about converting? No. Are we good with that? Okay. Now, let's step it up a notch. I could also give you 2 points, which in a way is kind of easy because if I give you 2 points, what could you do? Stat, edit, stat, calculate. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 points. The only thing you have to worry about though is you're going to have to convert your answer into standard form. So I'm thinking of a line that goes to the point 6, -9, and let's say -3, -3. Your job, you should know how to find the equation of a line if I give you 2 points. And really, that's a calculator problem. I don't want decimals though, so you've got to know how to use your calculator to convert nasty fractions to decimals. So I go to stat, edit, I put in my points. Always double check yourself. Look at your points before you calculate anything. Make sure you got everything lined up right. 6, -9, -3, -3. And then what? Stat again. Calculate. Number 4. Linear regression. And I think it was some nasty fractions, right? The slope is -0.6 repeating. The y-intercept is a nice whole number. But what is -0.6 repeating? It's -2/3, isn't it? And if you're not sure, put in negative points, a whole bunch of 6's. And then math, it's already on fractions, so just hit enter twice. Sure enough, it's -2/3. So the equation here was y equals -2/3 x. What was the y-intercept? -5. Now, I wanted your answers in what form? Standard form. Ramiro, y'all should be doing this with me. Convert this to standard form. You already did it? I'm sorry. Ramiro already did it. I take back my shout out. I can't edit it out. I'm sorry. No, because you like Miss Wynn better than me. Okay, so what do I multiply by? By 3. So you would have 3y equals -2x, because these 3's will cancel, minus 15. One more step left. Move the -2x to the other side, and there's my final answer in standard form. So really, the most work here, first of all, you had to know how to use your calculator. If I give you 2 points, stat, edit, stat, calculate. You had to know how to convert nasty decimals into fractions using the calculator, and then you got to know how to convert your answer. This is brain part into standard form. Okay, so if I give you a point and a slope, you should be able to find the equation, and then you should be able to convert it to whatever form I ask you to convert it to. So here's another little problem for you. I'm going to give you a point and a slope. I am thinking of a line that has a slope of -1/2 and contains the point 7, 5. Your job is to find, ooh, what happened there? Find the equation, and then I want your answer in what form? Standard form. Do I get paid for my videos? No. Well, I haven't gotten any checks in the mail. I don't know how that works. Well, I've only got 100 kids. I doubt I'm going to get 10,000 views. All right, are we done here with at least the first step? What do you not know? What is it we're trying to find first? The y-intercept. I gave you enough information to figure it out, but I didn't tell you what the y-intercept is. That's your first job. So you're going to plug everything you know into y equals mx plus b. 5 is my y value. Negative 1/2 is my slope value. 7 over 1 is my x value, and the b is what I'm trying to figure out, right? Y equals mx plus b. So 5 equals negative 7 over 2 plus b. Now here's where I would probably use my calculator. I got to get rid of negative 7 over 2, which means I've got to add 7 over 2. So I'm going to do 5 plus 7 halves, and I get 8.5. Now what is that as a fraction? 17 over 2. So my b value is 17 over 2. That means my first initial answer is y equals negative 1/2 x, because I already knew the slope, plus 17 over 2. How did I get 17 over 2? Okay, were you with me up at this step? Yeah, I'm not done yet. Okay, now how can I, before I move on to standard form, because remember I want all the answers in standard form, how can I make sure that this is right? Yeah, I know I've got the right slope, because I told you what slope to use, and sure enough, there's my slope of negative 1/2, but let me check to make sure that my point works. So I'm going to put in y equals negative 1/2 x plus 17 over 2. I'm going to look at my t-chart, and I better see the point 7.5. If 7.5 isn't there, then I did something wrong. Oopsie. Oh, I put 7 over 2. Whoopsie. It's 17 over 2. Okay, be careful when you check your check. All right, now, 7.5, there it is. I put it in the calculator wrong. 7.5 is there. Okay, so I feel confident that this is the right answer in slope-intercept form. But I want it in standard form. Okay, so what am I going to do? Multiply everything by 2. That's going to be 2y equals negative x plus 17. When I multiply by 2, it's going to cancel out the dividing by 2. So that's just left with negative 1 in front of x, and this is just 17. And I'm almost done. Now move that negative x to the other side. And you get x plus 2y equals 17. This is why this is such an important skill. These answer choices really don't look like they're the same line, but they are. So you have to know how to convert. So this is the answer I'd want to see in your answer column. You got x minus 2y? Okay, but we don't have to convert it because the x ended up being positive. Now, if you had had negative x minus 2y equals negative 17, that's the same thing, but you converted it to a negative x when I want a positive x. So that's the answer I want. Okay, now, let's talk about really tricky problems. Remember, if I give you a point and a slope, you should be able to give me the equation. Y'all got to stick with me on this one because this one takes a lot of work. I'm thinking of a line that goes through the point 9, negative 4. And it is parallel to, oh wait, I'm sorry, point, not slope. I'm thinking of a line that goes through this point and it is parallel to negative 2x minus 5y equals 12. This one takes a lot of work. There is at least one like this on your assignment you're about to do. First of all, parallel lines have the same slope but different y-intercepts. So in a very tricky way, I am telling you what slope to use. However, the line I told you to be parallel to, look what I did. I put it in standard form. I can't tell what the slope of that line is. I cannot tell what the slope of this line is. What am I going to have to do? I got to solve this thing for y. I've got to put it in slope-intercept form. So the 2x is going to have to go to the other side. The negative 2x is going to have to go to the other side. Are you with me? I'm converting here. So then I would have negative 5y equals positive 2x plus 12. Then I would have y equals 2 over negative 5, which is going to be a negative slope. Negative 2/5 x. Well, it's actually going to be a negative y-intercept too. 12 divided by negative 5 is negative 12/5. What is the only thing I needed from all that work? The slope, because parallel lines have the same slope but different y-intercepts. So now I can finally start my problem. I am trying to find my y-intercept. My y-intercept shouldn't be the same as this one. My slope should be the same as this one. So see how many steps this is going to take? It's going to take a bunch of steps. Now what do I do? Plug everything in into y equals mx plus b. So I go back to the information that I started with. I gave you a point at the beginning. That y value was negative 4 equals negative 2/5 times 9 over 1 plus b. We're trying to find that magical b value. Negative 4 equals, it's negative 18 over 5, isn't it? And here's where I would take my calculator. How do I get rid of negative 18 over 5? I add 18/5. So I'm going to do negative 4 plus 18/5. I'm just solving this equation. I'm going to get rid of the negative 18/5 by adding 18/5 to both sides. So I get negative 0.4. What is that as a fraction? So my b value is negative 2/5. I got my b value and my slope ended up being the same. That's weird. How can I make sure that's correct? Okay, so I have y equals negative 2/5 x minus 2/5. That was just a fluke, guys. My b value ended up being the same thing as my slope value. That's just weird. I don't know. I just made it up, so weird things happen. All right, so let's negative 2/5 x minus 2/5. And then I've got to make sure that point that I was given is on the line. 9, what was it, 9 negative 4? And there it is. Okay, so think about what I had to do here. First, I had to convert this so I could find the slope to use. Then I had to use that slope and that point and plug it into y equals mx plus b so I could find what y-intercept to use. Here is my answer, except Ms. Heim said you have to put your answers in standard form. So I am still not done, folks. There's only one like this. You got to have stamina here. Now what do I do? Multiply everything by 5. So 5 times this whole line. That's going to become 5y equals negative 2x minus 2. And then move the negative 2x to the other side and we'll finally be done. 2x plus 5y equals negative 2. That's what I want to see for your final answer. Okay, and that one did take a lot of work. There's one like that. But there's also lots of easy ones like this. I'm thinking of a line that has a slope of 0 and goes through the point 7, 10. What's that? Y equals 10. So all the easy ones should make up for that really tough one, right? Yes. True? Are we getting a worksheet or just a paper? True. Okay, your questions are these 10 problems right here. This is right now work. You guys have, what, 40 minutes almost to get this done. It's classwork, and if you don't finish it, then yes, it becomes homework. We're not going to check the homework that was due today, guys, because there's so many kiddos out, so we'll check it tomorrow. All right, look at these problems and make sure you understand how to do these. I think we did one like all of these. Just title it Review Homework. Okay, so that's it. Are y'all good? This is due tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be able to finish it in class today, you guys.